Hello, Terry here, Hot Wrench Fabrication, and another video coming your way. This time it's on this little gorgeous Tatum. It's an 07 Tatum Black Widow with the billet aluminum A-arms and carbon fiber body. Nice seats, nice dash. It's an 07. Got to rebuild all the shocks, do something with the clutch. It's not really feeling very good. Oil filter trans service, CV service, all the filters, and check the Heims. It has loose Heim in the front end. But twin turb skis, kind of small turbos, which is good for spooling up. I think he said he's only running about 8 pounds on this one. So this is not one of their big, massive horsepower cars, about 800 or so, 8 or 900. But it's a really nice car. Been around for a while. Nice billet accessory package. Everything's polished. So yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. So this one's kind of basic. I'm going to go through all these filters and get rid of these and get the paper filters on there. But it's got filters everywhere. Blow-off valve, oil catch can, then breathers for the crankcase down there. And I'll go through the whole car and kind of see if it needs anything, but this car seems to be in pretty good shape. It's got the Foreman's transmission in there, which is really nice. Super expensive. But yeah, we'll start pulling some panels off and check some stuff, and we'll see what we see. So once again, thanks for joining, and hope you enjoy this, and we'll get going. All right, got it checked out, and everything actually looks pretty good on this car. A couple little things. He thought that there was a bad Heim joint, but it's actually, I don't know if you can tell that. Oh, let me get my light. The light is all goofed up here. Hold, please. Turn these lights on. So it's just the rack itself that's a little loose. So these 2 bolts right here. I just gotta cut that and tighten these bolts up and make sure that the bushing inside there is good. All the other ones seem to be pretty good. Looks like I had a little issue at one point of the caliper bolt over here coming loose, but looks like that's fixed. And back here we have a broken transmission mount right there, a little cracky crack. So I'll have to weld that up, and same thing on this side. A little bit hard to see, but it's cracked. Also, a little crack right there. And then this bolt is loose. So I gotta fix all that. And then just do the services that it came in for, and probably bleed the clutch. But this one's wrapped up pretty nicely. Got the good size wire on the alternator. And this one actually has a good alignment on the belt. The last 2 I worked on did not. But these Tatums are really cool. You can tell it's a little old. The chrome is peeling on there. But you're gonna get that. It was kind of funny. They've been doing the same sway bar setup for years and years. All their new cars actually have that also. But it's a cool design. This one has a pump in here for the transmission fluid. So you could do some wheelies and this will pump the fluid up to the front. Pretty cool deal. Now I do need to get a drain plug. She's a little rounded off. No bueno. So I gotta put that on the list. But no, it's pretty good shape. So I gotta go get some parts. Nice and clean how they route the fuel system on here. And it's dated with the old, this used to be the look, red and blue with the stainless. It's all black now, but still looks pretty cool. So yeah, not really seeing much problem. So I'll go get some parts and we'll get working on this thing. All right, so I'm pretty excited for this dune season because I got me a new dune hauler. 21 F250 Lariat trimmer package. And the trimmer is basically a factory 2-inch lift with 35-inch tires. Got the blackout kit. Everything's been blacked out with color matched bumpers, which is pretty cool. I was driving a 03 F350 with the V10 in it before, pulling my 33-inch dune chaser, and she was struggling, but not anymore. I haven't pulled it yet, but this is kind of a dream truck for me. It's got a lot of features, accoutrements. Nice tonneau cover on there. Electric sliding rear window. It's got a big roomy back seat. It's pretty cool. And then obviously all this stuff flips up. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. This flips up and then kind of locks down underneath here, which is pretty cool. A little storage. It's got AC vent, well, air conditioning vent, but AC power, and then all your USB hookups and stuff like that. It's got a 10 stereo or 10 speaker Bang & Olufsen stereo, and just buttons everywhere. Pedals go back and forth. Electric sliding rear windows. Got a huge panoramic sun screen in there, and just stuff. I mean, there's buttons. I had to watch YouTube for 3 weeks to figure out how to use this stuff, and I still don't know everything. It's got the trailer package on it, so when you lighting is not good. When you hook up your trailer, this little knob right here, you can actually turn the steering wheel with that knob and line your trailer up. It's got exhaust brakes on it. I mean, it's just completely loaded. All these accessory switches up here, so it's all pre-wired, so you can just put accessories front, back, or wherever you want, and factory hookups. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's got some gigantic tank in it. When I put gas in this thing, it said 775 miles to empty, which is pretty cool for a dune rig. I'm not gonna have to stop and get gas. It's got to be over 50 gallons. Ooh, shiny. So yeah, that's my new dune hauler. I'm jonesing. I love this color too. It's pretty. Matches my motorcycle and my car, which is kind of funny, but there it is. All right, did some shopping this morning. Got, I think, everything that I need. Oil change, grease, a couple of filters, filter covers, some tranny fluid, filter for the fuel, and then all of the kits to rebuild the shocks. Kind of expensive. Almost $1,200 worth of stuff just for some service work. But you gotta pay if you're gonna play. And this is all top quality stuff too, so best of the best going in this thing. So I gotta figure out where I'm gonna start. Probably right hither. Just take this little whatchamacallits off there. Tighten those bolts up. I'm gonna take them off first and make sure the bushings aren't wallered out. because it moves quite a bit, but it's probably just loose. So we'll fix that first and then probably go on to the welding of the brackets back there and then start the service work. Doing all the shocks is a pain in the butt, very time consuming, but it is what it is. We'll get her done. All right, so I got a little TIG weld on there. Kind of ground a little V groove in there and then TIGged it up. Drilled a hole where the crack was at. So when you have a crack, it's usually a stress riser, stress point, and you need to drill a hole where that crack is at because it can actually go through the weld. So I drilled a hole and then welded over it, and then I'm going to make just a little gusset on there. It was cracked here once before, just a tiny bit. I could see where it was welded, but it cracked through there again and went all the way down. So put this on there. That should help it out, give a little bit of relief on the stress back there. So pretty simple. It's got a 1/4 inch chunk of steel, and I have this little magnetic chuck for a mill. And you can see that sticks it on there. It's really handy when you're doing little flat stuff like this. Now I can stick my sander on there and grind all this mill scale off. Then I'll just lay this out and probably cut it with the bandsaw. That'd be the easiest. I could do plasma cutter, but that's kind of messy for a small thing like this. So yeah, these magnetic chucks are cool. You just release it and then you can move it super easy. So I just have it sitting on my table. I actually thought about cutting a hole and sinking this in there. It came with all the little brackets to actually tighten it down to a regular mill, which I could do on here. It's got little holes right here, so I could bring it down on here, but it actually sticks pretty easily. So pretty affordable too. These things aren't that much, but man, what a cool little apparatus. I saw that on somebody else's channel, and just super easy to lay it on there. So we'll get it laid out and do some cutting. Okay, so there's some welding. TIGged it on there, but it's kind of hard to get to. That looks pretty good. It's definitely gonna hold up real nice. So I'll let that cool down and scuff the rest of it up and throw a little paint on it, and it won't be perfect, but it'll work. She's all fixed. Slapped a little paint on her. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think that'll work. And then I gotta do the other side. So, whoop. I'm gonna have to take this pump off of here to get to this one. A little bit harder to get to. Well, we'll get it. Same process. Alrighty, so I got this one fixed. A little hard to see, but got a nice gusset on here. This one was cracked all the way through. So beveled it, welded it. I had to drill and tap a hole for the transmission because it was stripped. But got the gusset in there, slapped a little paint on it, and just got to put the tranny pump back in place. And then that's about all the hard stuff. I do got to bleed the brakes on the clutch, but just getting the service work done, so this thing will be finished up pretty soon. Alright, so I got this side finished up. Found a crack on this one. This one was actually busted all the way in half. All back together. painted. And then I actually found one more little crack right there. So welded that up both sides. And then of course this side's done. Oop, right up in there. And now I'm going to work on these CVs. So looks like the CV axles are actually too long. See, this thing is basically touching the edge of this hub right here. So those are sticking out too far. So basically I have to cut the ends of these off. Probably 1/2 inch on both sides. And after I get it all apart, we'll see what this side looks like. But it's kind of the same thing over here. So both of these clips have been fell off. They were inside this cup right here because they're rubbing and just knocked the clip off. You really don't need a clip on this side. The clip is supposed to keep the CV from popping out, but it's absolutely impossible as long as this is to actually pop out. You really only need it on one side, so as long as the inside has one, we're good to go. So I got my oil change, I got my fluids changed on the transaxle, and I got the fuel filters done. So basically I have this and the shocks left. And that's it. Let me start tearing this nasty dirty thing apart and we'll see what we find. And then I worked on the axles. The axles ended up being a little too long. They're actually hitting in the center of these. They were kind of bulging them out a little bit. So I went and got new axles. Added that to the bill. It's kind of expensive, but it had to be done because you would end up punching these out eventually. They were smacking pretty hard, but now they're the exact correct ones that I got from Tatum. You know, they're all good to go. Got them all greased up. So fuel system's done, oil's done, tranny's done, axles are done. I got to do the shocks. So, and the clutch. So that is done. That is done. Let me turn these lights out. CVs are done. Filters, and it wasn't the Heim, it was tightening the front end. So all that's done. So I got to bleed the clutch, see if I can get a little bit more clutch pressure, and then rebuild all the shocks. So he was complaining about the shocks clunking. So Tatum doesn't put limit straps on there because they're kind of ugly. And they set them up to get full droop at the right length of the shocks. But the problem is that, you know, when you're coming off of a dune or whatever, you do a wheelie, it clunk, you kind of feel it clunking. So the bypass shocks are actually the ones that are hitting first. So I bought these little bump stops. So these little hard rubber pieces go inside there. I probably have to press them in there, a little hard to get in. But these are going to go actually inside of the shock in here and sit inside like right here. So when that comes down, clunk, it hits on this rubber instead of metal to metal. So I'll show you when I put those on. And then of course all my kits and everything. So that's the axles. They were just a little too long. I ended up trimming this one, but it didn't work. So that's not good. Anywho, yeah. So today's Friday. Tomorrow will be Saturday. And I'll continue working. I won't be done by tomorrow because doing all 8 of these is a little bit of time consuming, but got a pretty good jump on it. So yeah, so what's going on? Okay, so I got my shocks off of this side. Bypassers are over here. I haven't rebuilt that one yet. I did rebuild the coilover, and I just did that on my last video, so I didn't really show this one. Pretty basic. So I got that one done, but I did want to point something out. When I took this apart, this bolt right here, I don't know if you can really see that very well, but it's kind of tacoed out. She's all bent. So a little hard getting that out of there. You can see there. So it was sitting like that, which obviously it got bent up. So there's something called shouldering a bolt. And basically right here where the threads are at, the bolt is a little bit smaller. Plus the threads are kind of digging into this hole over here, which isn't great. But the biggest concern is the bolt itself is just a little bit smaller. So when you shoulder a bolt, you're actually getting a longer bolt. Where is my longer bolt? Oh, is it this? Oh, here it is. So you get a longer bolt, and the shoulder or the shank of the bolt, you want pretty much the whole entire length. So, you know, the bolt's going to be too long, and usually you can just cut the threads off if you want to make it look, you know, a little bit more normal. But now you can see the whole distance in there is the thickness, which is going to give you a little bit extra strength. Plus it's all going to fit a little bit better. So if you could find one that's just a tiny bit longer, but it would be very difficult. So we do have a couple threads in there, but really not much you can do about that. So I'm going to replace it with those bolts. And then probably just leave them. I don't know if I need to cut all those off. It looks fine. You can't really see it from back here. Plus, once you get the shocks on there, you're not really going to be able to see it. But yeah, both top and bottom were both bent really, really bad. So we're going to fix that for them. All right, so in my last video, which I know all you guys watched, I was talking about rebuilding these shocks, just basically replacing the seals. So one thing I didn't really get to explain very well is the valving in the shock. So if you need to revalve your shock, it's done through these little plates right here. So this is the piston that other shock had, but it didn't have the little plates. So basically this kind of acts like a leaf spring. There's a bunch of series of little discs in there, and they're all different sizes, and they're super, super thin. So you have a hole that comes through here, the oil comes out right here, and then this just flexes as it goes up and down. This flexes and allows the oil to go through the little holes right there. So oil comes in this way, going down the other way, and then the back ones bend the same way. So when you revalve those, and I've actually never done this, I don't have enough experience on like what I need to do. Like I know my shocks on my car probably need to be revalved, especially in the front, because I only have coilovers. I don't have the bypasses. But this shim stack right here, be careful. All right, so that's the shim stack. So these are all different sizes. They start small and gradually get bigger. And you just measure those out with your set of calipers. And this is 10 thousandths. So I don't know if you can see that. Just a tiny bit under 10 thousandths. So if you wanted to make this stiffer, where you want more compression and more rebound, you would get thicker shims. You can go up to like a 12. You don't go very much on these. It makes a big difference. But you can see they're pretty thin, and they flex really super easily. But that's how you revalve it. So shaft is going up. That's compression. So the fluid is going. Make sure you don't mess these up. So fluid is going down in these big holes and then coming out of these little holes. You can see how it covers it up. And then it just flexes and opens up. So this one has 2 going down for compression, and then just 1 hole coming up for rebound. So you got to make sure that this goes on there the right way. The 2 holes go down. So very important that you don't get these mixed up. All right, so I'm going to put all those in place on my little towel here, exactly the way they came out. This has a shim and a washer to keep all that together. And then just go through the process like I did before and just replace the seals. So exactly the same way. Pop this seal out, this seal, and then there's a little O-ring inside. But yeah, that's how you revalve a shock. Just you got to figure out what you're doing. I guess if you don't have any experience on it, it's going to be 100% trial and error, replacing those little shims with some thicker ones, and then you have to go out and drive it and see what it did. So if it's too harsh and you want less compression, you get smaller shims, obviously. More compression, you put bigger shims. But a lot of that adjustment's done through your bypass shocks anyway. So there's guys that dial this stuff in for race vehicles, and they know exactly what they're doing and get exactly the right size in there that they need. But for the dunes, it's usually not that big a deal. You could just change it through your bypasses. But I'll keep plugging away and get these rebuilt. Okay, so we got the hood popped, so I can get these shocks off of here. And pretty much keeping with our 100% theme of take the hood off and this is what you get. I've seen worse, but this is kind of ugly. This is a mess. Just so much stuff taped together, and I don't know how much of this has been changed over 20 years. This is an 07. But everything's just hanging on the frame, just wrapped up. And these are a no-no. Somebody added that. You never want to use those little Scotch locks on there. Those are stupid. But yeah, it's kind of a mess. Not real cool. A lot of electrical tape, just zip ties everywhere. Could have been a lot cleaner. But the back of it looks good. Wiring on the engine, which could have been added after the fact. So I'll have to see if he's interested in getting this one fixed also. Maybe. We'll see. But it's got to get these shocks done. Got the rear shocks, well, the rear coilovers are done. I still have to do the bypasses. These actually have a little bit bigger shaft, and I don't have a 1-inch block, so I'm going to have to make one. So I decided to move to the front and get these built real quick, and then I'll go back and finish those up. These will be pretty simple. These don't actually have reservoirs on them, so it's a little bit easier. Now let me whip these out. Well, I'm pretty much done. I was just playing with the clutch a little bit. Got the shocks all finished up. So I was complaining about the clutch not engaging all the way. And these clutches have a hydraulic throwout bearing. So the throwout bearings, much like cars, regular cars nowadays, they have hydraulic throwout bearings inside. So it's in the middle of the transmission, and you bleed it through here. And there's only so much throw on the throwout bearing, and they can actually pop apart. So you have to have a pedal stop, which is right here. So that's the pedal stop. So when you push the clutch in, it'll hit this peg right there, and it'll limit the travel. So it was basically barely moving to disengage it. So if you didn't have, an absolute perfect pedal, it wasn't disengaging, you couldn't get it in gear. So I adjusted that a little bit, and then I bled it. Found a couple little air bubbles, but I think I got it all set up, so I just need to drive it. And then I made a little extension on the throttle. So the throttle, this was like way up here. And it was really short throw, which makes the throttle super responsive because it's so short. So I lengthened this. And that should help out the drivability a little bit. And I think that's it. So shocks are all finished up. Nice. So yeah, we'll throw the hood back on it and go take it for a little test drive and see how she feels. And then I'll let the customer know that it's ready for pickup. All right, she's all done. Customer's picking it up today. I got the shocks rebuilt. Finish that up. And the clutch, just had to adjust it. Feels pretty good. And everything else that I fixed on it should be good to go. Hopefully it starts up. Looks like she's in neutral. Oh yeah, she sounds good. All right, got that one all done. Customer came and picked it up. I still have to put a master cylinder in there. I bled the clutch, and it seems like it's bleeding back a little bit, but it is adjusted better, so I mean it's drivable right now, but it still ain't right. So he'll bring it back for that. I just couldn't work on that anymore because my schedule is getting filled up. I'm actually working on my own sand rail right now. The old Ricochet. Putting in a transmission. Got that all done. And stabbing the motor right now, which is almost finished. Got to hook up the pipes and some tubes and cage, and so it'll be done tomorrow. And then Friday I have another customer coming. Monday I got another customer coming. And then after that I think I got 2 more in the books. Well, actually I got 5 more. So yeah, I'm swamped. Trying to get all this done before dune season starts. It's hard. People should have started a long time ago. But that's okay. Work my butt out for them. I'm trying to get them done. So once again, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed this video, and there will definitely be more to come. I'm going to Sand Sports Super Show this weekend. So if you didn't have a chance to go, I'll be making another video about that, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy some of the sand rails and parts and stuff they have over there. And sorry you're going to miss it. But thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.